Not all wholesalers are created equal. I had a wholesaler reach out to me the other day. Send me a deal. The numbers look phenomenal until you look at the true story. This deal potentially could have cost me $100,000 more than it should have. And this episode is all about how to show you how to not make the same mistake that a lot of new investors make. Let's dive into it.
Welcome to the Smack Fest, the beat down. The SWAT team is here on another beautiful day of shutting the week down.
Hey guys, if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is William Dauria. I'm a full-time real estate investor and entrepreneur. If you like financial freedom, because that's all what this channel is about, be sure to subscribe and like this content. So this duplex right here is the one that the wholesaler reached out to me. He said that it's a 2-bed, 1-bath each side, 1,900 square foot, which is correct. It needs some repairs, needs a wall put back down the middle, which it does because it was converted into a single family home. Needs some paint, needs some interior flooring, stuff like that. Okay, so that all seemed fine. And to top it all off, he was asking $127,500, and they rented for, according to rentometer.com, $1,500 per side. Looking pretty good, right? So far, so good. And the true story is going to come out. And he sent me a comp, which was $260,000 comp just sold, which is right here. And it's actually still looking pretty good. Click on the comp pictures and we get to see kind of what kind of finish outs need to be done into a property, because this property was like, had a bunch of big dogs, the floor is destroyed. So if we look at this property, we can see that it's been lots of new floor, new paint, new ceiling fans. Oh, I say new floor, that's not new floor, they just went over that. Okay, so you got new tile, you got semi-updated appliances. Yeah, not even that great. I mean, they added some new stuff, but it's got original old frame windows. So you don't even have to go that far to get to a good comp. And that's why you look at comps, so you know that, hey, is this comp high? Is this comp good? Where is the actual comp? So he sends me a comp for $260,000, which I do confirm is a comp. However, this is when the true story actually comes out. When I actually run my numbers on Redfin, I do see this. The problem is it's right here, which is considered in the neighborhood. It's just on the outskirts of the neighborhood. It's definitely in the neighborhood, $260,000. And this is a true comp. It's a, 2-bed, 1-bath per side, give or take. So, but the house, guys, is right here. Okay? It's right here. Okay? So this is the immediate neighborhood. Now, these two are lots, okay? This right here is 110, 130, 130, 130, 90,000, and all of these houses that just sold recently are in better shape. They're selling for $66, $65, $55, $45 a square foot, okay? This wholesaler told me that he had an offer at $142,000 and he would sell it to me right now for $143,500, basically $1,000 over the existing offer. So I'm like, great, I'm not even at $127,500 OBO. I'm now at like $145,000 basically. So I said a little bit less, and I was like, okay, look, I know that it rents for $1,500 a side. Okay, so let's say it needed $50,000 in rehab, and I did have to pay $145,000. I'll round it up. Say you're in it for $200,000. The rents are $3,000 a month. That's well beating the 1% rule. That's 1% a month of what you have in it. $200,000 house needs to be $2,000 a month. So if we're at $3,000 a month, we're well above where we actually need to be. However, there's a problem with this already, is that the comps don't actually support the property. He was what they call cherry picking comps, and he said, I'm not going to show any of these. I'm going to find what they call a one-off comp, and it was down here. Anyways, I'm going to find a one-off comp. And the way that at least I've had an appraiser explain it to me, is when he's looking at comps, when they do the refi on your property, when they're looking at comps, they usually take the really high extreme one for whatever reason. They take that off the mix, and then the one that's sold for really cheap for whatever reason, they take that off the mix, and they look at the center 90%. They look at that range because that's a more realistic range. If everything sells for 150 grand, something sold for 300, but then something sold for 50. You know, there's probably a reason for both of those. They took those off. They want to see what the meat and potatoes, the main range is, okay? And the main range on the sale of these guys are like, let's call it, I don't know, $120,000. So I'm going to show you something, okay? If you had $200,000 in that property, and we're going to keep going, and I'm going to talk to you what the neighbor told me as well. So $200,000 of what you would potentially have into this property, okay? If they're going to give you the bank, they're going to appraise it at $120,000 potentially. I mean, that's what the numbers are showing, guys. Maybe a little higher if the finish outs are nice, but $120,000, they're going to give you cash money in your hand, 84 grand. Okay, they're gonna give you 84 grand. You have 200 in it. Your whole like I want to get my money back thing, you left 116 grand in this property. Okay, total burr failure if that's what you're trying to do. But I said fine. It rents. The cash flow is great, but there's no equity, so I'm already out. But the cash flow is good, so I was having trouble finding rent comps because going back to this, I'm going to show you something. This is your only comp right here, guys. That's it. One comp. That's it. In 10 miles, you have one comp, okay? So that already is a big red flag because ideally what you want is you want many comps in a 10-mile radius because I'll tell you why is this comp right here is actually a bad comp. It's an apartment complex. It's a new build apartment complex. It's not a good comp at all, okay? So I said, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. I'm going to knock on a neighbor's door. Okay, so that's what I did. I went to a house. It was actually catty corner to this house. It was a very nice house, actually. You can tell it was just remodeled, new windows. I kind of wanted to see the inside, so I wanted him to open the door. Knocked on the door, and I was like, hey, and this is how you should do as well as a real estate investor. I was like, hey, my name's William. I'm really sorry to bother you. I'm actually looking to buy the house next door, and I was really having a hard time finding rent comps in this area. I was wondering if, a house that's rehabbed, like his was, a house that's rehab, what would a house potentially rent for in this area? And it's kind of inviting him to tell me what he's paying in rent versus him opening the door. What are you paying in rent? So I kind of structured it to the point where he can tell me, or he can tell me what a neighbor's paying as well. And that's what he did. He was like, hey, this house over here, he goes, oh, by the way, he told me he's paying $1,000 a month in rent. So I'm thinking, okay, it was $1,500 per side in rent from what I can see. Now we're getting to the real meat and potatoes. He's paying $1,000 in rent, and he just moved in, and it's fully rehabbed. I can see it. New floors, new appliances, new backsplash, new AC units, new paint, new windows. I can see the level that I'm going to have to build this thing up to just to get $1,000 a month. And then he pointed to the one across the street and said they're asking $1,150 and they just finished rehab. So I'm thinking, okay, best case scenario, and they're all duplexes, they're all about the same. Best case scenario now is now $1,150 per side. That's my best case scenario, okay? So $1,150 times 2, I know it's easy math, is $2,300 a month, guys. That means at most you could be in this thing for $230,000 and still cash flow 1%. It is highly not recommended at all because you're not buying into any equity whatsoever. On top of that, I drove around the neighborhood. I was finding houses for rent. It said by owner, so you won't find them online. That's why it's very important to drive around the neighborhood. For rent by owner, same layout, same everything. It was a cookie cutter for $750 a side, and it was vacant. So until both sides rent, mine's never going to rent because I'm asking $1,150 or would be asking $1,150. So my point of this video is to verify your ARVs, because if I went with that thinking I was going to get $260 and took a loan, a 12-month hard money loan, for instance, I'd be in a lot of trouble because I would not be able to pay that back. If I thought I was going to be getting $3,000 a month and I end up getting $2,000 a month, my cash flow would be out of this world, completely messed up. This is a great example, guys, of a wholesaler that sends you cherry-picked items, and it's very, very important to double check your numbers, guys. If you guys have any questions, thank you so much for making it all the way through the video. Make sure you smash that like button. It helps other real estate investors, would-be real estate investors, see this content and helps the channel grow as well. It costs you absolutely nothing to subscribe. If you have any questions at all, let me know down in the comments below. I want to enlighten you. So if you see a deal that looks great on paper, how to verify it yourself, guys. Thanks, guys, again for watching all the way through, and I will see you on the next one.